What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Datta saw Milim descending from the sky and had been quietly listening in. He sensed something unsettling in the direction of the conversation. Sensing that he'd inevitably be drawn into the situation, he made a quick decision to retreat. It was a sharp judgment of the circumstances.
Well, I'm off to report our victory.
Then, jumping onto Ranga, who had split into two, they dashed away like the wind. Datta's keen awareness and knack for gathering useful intel had saved his skin more than once. Ranga trusted Datta's instincts. His foresight had proven invaluable before, so Ranga followed without hesitation. Thus, Ranga also managed to escape unscathed. As for the others,
Wait, Milim, you're not seriously thinking of dragging me into this too, right?
not just Midley and Carrera, who were the first to get caught up, but also Carrion and Frey were roped in against their will. So, while the conflict in this area had caused significant damage, it seemed to have ended without any fatalities, or so they thought.
Blizzard, freeze everything and lull it to sleep.
Just when everyone let their guard down, the world turned white. A blizzard of despair swirled from the edges of the battlefield, trapping everyone in its icy grasp with no chance of escape.
No way, you.
Milim was the first to sense it, but by then, it was already too late. She had been completely caught off guard. Few could deceive a demon lord as old as Milim. But it wasn't impossible for the eldest sister of the true dragons, Frost Dragon Velzard.
It's been a while, Milim.
What are you doing here, Velzard?
I came to see my dear niece. I need your assistance with something.
Don't underestimate me. If you want a favor, you'd better start by dropping this blizzard. Then I'll consider listening to you.
Milim tried to intimidate Velzard, holding back her anger. If this continued, her friends would be in serious danger. In fact, those on the outskirts were already encased in ice. They weren't dead, but all their vital signs had ceased. It might sound reassuring to call it suspended animation, but Velzard could end their lives with a mere thought. Milim was well aware of this. She had been completely blindsided, caught at the moment she had let her guard down after the fierce battle with Zelenus. Frey sensed even greater danger than Milim did. If Milim were to lose her temper and go on a rampage, this entire area would be reduced to ashes. If that happened, the scale of destruction would be unimaginable, and survival for anyone would be uncertain.
I have to act.
Frey realized it was too dangerous to let Velzard have her way with Milim. The longer they hesitated, the worse things would become. Thinking quickly, Frey gave an order to the soaring flock without Milim's consent.
Take out Velzard.
With that command, the soaring flock moved out immediately. Everyone understood the terror that Velzard represented. Everyone knew they were heading into a likely death in this desperate assault. Milim, their cherished leader, was kind to a fault. The more of her people turned into ice statues, the closer Milim came to reaching her breaking point. Once that line was crossed, there would be no going back. Even now, she was holding back out of concern for Frey and her other comrades. If things got any worse, she might have to follow Velzard's lead just to avoid further casualties. As Frey knew, the only time Milim had fought with her full strength was when she clashed with Guy and decimated a nation, long before Frey was born. If Milim fought with the intent to kill, regardless of the cost to her allies, no opponent would be a challenge. And yet, Milim had never unleashed her true power. In a way, her kindness was what held her back. Because Milim was so kind, Frey acted to ensure they wouldn't become a burden to her.
We're too late. You guys can run if you want, but if you stay, be ready for anything.
One crisis after another. And now, it's against our lord's aunt. I hate unwinnable battles, but for Milim Salma, I'll fight without complaint.
Carrion stated his position, and Midley added with a chuckle. Naturally, none of the winged beast knights backed down. The warrior priests under Hermes also abandoned their roles as medics, shifting into combat mode. With that, Milim's forces charged at Velzard all at once.
You fools, stop. Get out of here, now.
But Milim's desperate shouts were drowned out by the barrage of magic and spirit bullets aimed at Velzard.
Milim Sama is truly cherished. I wish I could have served you sooner as well.
Obera murmured. She was drained from her battle with Peliad, her energy nearly spent. Even so, Obera stood once more, her eyes locked onto Velzard. Velzard was an overwhelming power, an unbeatable force. Frey surely knew this, and if survival was her only goal, she would have ordered the troops to scatter and leave. The fact she didn't was probably because
She's a clever one, isn't she? I didn't dislike her before, but now I truly respect her decisiveness.
Frey's goal was to push Milim beyond her hesitation. If they died by Velzard's hand, Milim would have no reason to hold back. Frey quickly decided that as long as Milim lived, that was what mattered. Carrion and Midley agreed. Their followers, too, chose to share their fate without hesitation. They all loved Milim. Obara felt the same, understanding their resolve. She honored those who made the same choice as her fallen comrades and was ready to die here as well. Carrera, still on the battlefield, was also considering her options. An endurance battle against the invincible Velzard was hopeless. Velzard wasn't as merciful as Velgrand. Carrera knew she couldn't defeat Velzard, and escaping was purely a matter of luck. But running wasn't in Carrera's nature.
It can't be helped. If I'm not cautious, I'll be going against his lordship's orders, but I should probably join in here. Velzard-sama is a formidable opponent. I'll give it my all and struggle.
With a swift decision, she acted. For Carrera's subordinates, it felt like a catastrophe, but there was no escaping this place anyway. Defeating Velzard was their only hope. But everyone knew that victory was impossible. So, all Carrera and her team could do was gather the souls of those who would fall here and guide them away from a true death.
Stay focused, everyone. Don't let a single one slip by.
Carrera's command was met with unanimous agreement from her team. At this point, recovery was no longer an option. The demons relinquished their physical forms, returning to their original states as spiritual beings. Their impact on the physical world would lessen, but it made more sense for them to lead the dead. In no time at all, they were ready. But then, how pathetic. That cold, detached sentiment echoed in the minds of everyone on the battlefield. It was a quiet voice, nearly drowned by the blizzard, yet it carried a powerful wave of thought. Perhaps in response, the blizzard intensified, turning into a violent storm, blanketing the battlefield in white. It was an overwhelming force. A supernatural calamity of such immense scale appeared on the battlefield that any thought of resistance seemed absurd.
Now, go to sleep.
The pure white ice and snow raged on. The soldiers were the first to be turned into ice statues. Then the captains, and even the high-ranking officers. Only a few remained. Those who had reached the million-class level still stood. But it was only a matter of time. Seeing the hopelessness of the situation, Frey braced herself for death. The same went for Carrion and Midley. The only reason they were still standing was because Milim was shielding them. Without her, Frey and the others would have been overwhelmed by Velzard's unleashed power long ago. As evidence, Carrera, who was positioned slightly farther from Milim, couldn't even shed her body and was left paralyzed. Carrera, one of the demon pillars, was in that state. Her subordinates fared no better. And naturally, Frey's soaring flock, Carrion's winged beast knights, and Midley's priests and priestesses were all turned into ice statues. Velzard hadn't even directly attacked them. This blizzard was merely the release of her haki. For those who understood, this phenomenon brought a crushing sense of despair. Milim, who was shielding Frey and the others, couldn't move. If Milim left them, their fate would be sealed.
Ah, sweet Milim. You really are a dear. I adore you.
Frey thought sincerely. She suddenly felt someone watching her and turned to see Carrion grinning fearlessly. Midley sighed deeply and nodded at Carrion. Obara prayed silently.
I'm sorry, everyone.
She seemed to apologize to someone. It was the very image of those who had resolved themselves.
So, you've all made up your minds.
Yeah, let's make it big, all at once.
If we're going down, let's give Milim Sama one last display of our courage.
Now I finally understand how my subordinates felt. So that's it. They didn't die in vain. In that case, I'll have to give them something to boast about, too.
Milim's 4 heavenly kings were united in that moment. And
Wait, guys!
before Milim could intervene, they had already sprung into action. The synchronization among the 4 was nothing short of impeccable. As if they had fought together for centuries, they launched a series of flawless, lightning-fast attacks on Velzard. But it was all for naught.
I'm really pleased. You were just as strong as I'd hoped, so I could deal with you effortlessly.
Velzard smiled coldly, unmoved. Before her, 4 new ice statues had formed. At that moment, Milim's expression froze. All emotions faded away, leaving just one. In other words, a look of pure wrath. Milim seethed with anger at the loss of her friends.
I won't forgive you. You took my friends from me? I will never forgive you.
Milim's cry echoed across the battlefield. Simultaneously, Milim's ultimate skill, Wrath King Satinel, began to operate at its full capacity. Absorbing the surrounding magicules and channeling all of her mana, it continued to generate an ever greater power. Fueled by fury and the magicules pouring out of Milim, this power was unmatched in its ability to propagate magicules. The Magicule Breeder Reactor, was so potent that it was beyond mastery, embodying the essence of the ultimate skill, Wrath King Satinel. The magicules consumed as fuel were returned as even more power. They were quite literally breeding. As long as this remained active, the magicules within Milim would continue to multiply at an astonishing rate. Moreover, no matter how much she used, they would never diminish. This was the ultimate power. As the offspring of Veldanava, the title of Dragon Princess was no exaggeration. The sole being who commanded limitless power, that was Demon Lord Milim. And once again, Milim let out a thunderous roar. At that moment, the sky trembled, and the earth cracked open. The mythical grade armor encasing Milim responded to her intense rage, transforming ominously. It wasn't meant to protect Milim from external threats but to prevent her from being overwhelmed by her own internal power. The overflowing surge of power merged with the armor, transforming it and enveloping Milim's entire body. Milim's transformation was complete. Black wings unfurled from her back. A single crimson horn emerged from her forehead, shimmering with iridescent hues. The rest of her exposed skin was now covered in hard, gleaming dragon scales, adorned with mysterious patterns and shifting, muted colors. This was Milim's true form. This was the true form of the Dragon Princess, who, despite her human appearance, wielded a power greater than even the true dragons, embodying absolute destruction.
Oh, this is the second time I've seen you like this. Since we're here, how about I entertain you for a while?
There was no one left to restrain Milim. The heavens and earth shook under the fury of the ancient demon lord. Immediately after, the world would once again witness the wrath of the ultimate dragon Majin.
A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Havox, Speed Saber, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Miss L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rosen, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Jay, Donald Williams, Day of Light, John M, Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Adrian, Kumo, T. Bush, JV, Thomas, Christ, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Divine C. Harris, Montyboy98, Ruben, Yuki Iki, Gray, Isaac, Koala King 93, Quilly Buckner, Alver, Darius King, Normal Defate, Vicente Baharias, Joshua Andrade, L, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J. Rule, Nate, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Jason Martin, Christopher Mash, Charles Bailey, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Andre Hamilton, Martin Ramos, Guy Ensley, Simon Rode, Emperor WSA, Miko Espinosa, Gobi Lin, Pratik Bandari, Faiz Mansour, Jackson Early, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Vasto Lord, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Efrain Hernandez, William Locke, Kamal Luke, Jahid Hassan Lipu, Spencer Candila, Ian Sikibiol, Thanacorn Lee Sawat, KACP9R, The Harv, Drayden Yamauchi, Alex Buthanu, Michael Brinkley, Nathan Alexander, Mario Kanoy, Karam Faraj. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.